Call the meeting in order for the Village of Round Lake Beach. This is our board meeting for Monday, January 21st, 2019. Please call the roll.
Trustee Husk.
Here.
Trustee Valdez. Trustee Wallace.
Here.
Trustee Butler.
Here.
Trustee Nichols.
Here.
Trustee Cleveland.
Here.
Mayor Hill.
Here. Let the record show a quorum is present. Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any additions or deletions to the agenda tonight? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Wallace,
Second.
second by trustee Cleveland. We have a motion and a second. Any questions, additions, deletions for the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is going to remain as written. We have the council meeting minutes from December 17th, 2018 up for approval. Any corrections or clarifications? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
By trustee Butler, second by trustee Husk. We have a motion and a second. Once again, any questions, corrections, clarifications? Again, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those minutes are approved. We have our expenditures for the month, $1,498,061.74. Some of those items are some of the bigger items at least. I think get the right spot here. We had L&R Construction Company do one of the big water main projects, $547,000. Our freshwater Lake Michigan Water from CLC Jawa had two bills, one for $132,000, one for $147,000. Our healthcare for our staff, $128,000. We had our insurance coming up for renewal, $219,000. A lot of other bills that the staff have reviewed, the trustees have reviewed. And the trustees have any questions on those? Not, is there a motion to approve the expenditures?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Nichols,
Second.
second by trustee Cleveland. We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Nichols.
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland.
Aye.
Trustee Husk.
Aye.
Trustee Wallace.
Aye.
That's approved. We have no ratifications tonight. Are there any standing committee reports?
I do have one, Mayor. Especially since it's the beginning of the year, I wanted to go over some of the SWALCO things with the recycling. The waste management cart tagging program is back in play for our village. Prior to the holidays, they saw a dramatic improvement in the poor and contaminated recycling. The amounts went down drastically. They're hoping that that stays like that. They want us to let everybody know that the biggest no-no for the recycling is plastic bags, whether it be your grocery bags or if you're putting recyclables in a container and putting it in a plastic bag, dump the recyclables out. Don't just take the whole bag and put it in the recycling. Recycling, electronics recycling, just a reminder, we have two locations for electronics recycling. We're one of the lucky ones. We have our own located on Sunset Drive, south of Hawthorne at the gated sanitary plant. The site's open Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 3, and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And as always, we also have the Grays Lake Public Works at 585 Berry Avenue, and they're 7 a.m. to 3:30 Monday to Friday, and 8 a.m. to noon on Saturday. Textile recycling, our Public Works Department in 911 Lotus does accept clothing and textile drop-offs, and Grays Lake also accepts textiles and other items such as plastic, paper, cardboard, so on. A big one too is our pharmaceutical and sharps disposal. We have containers inside the lobby at the police department during regular business hours, so please don't throw your pharmaceuticals down the drain or in the garbage. Come down here and drop them off. Hazardous waste collections, we do have year-round public drop-off available twice a month by appointment only. The second Saturday and fourth Monday at the Gurnee facility at 1311 Estes Avenue. Mobile collection events will also happen throughout the years. They always do. Those haven't been set yet, but when they do, I will definitely let everybody know. The other big thing that is coming up with, especially with the contaminated recycling, is the residential food scrap collections. You can drop off your food scrap collections at the Grays Lake Recycling Center also, same hours as their recycling. There's a lot of information now on the SWALCO website. If you go out there, all the different communities have even got our own page on there that we put our own stuff down. So feel free to go out there and look at that. If you want to get on their newsletter, just go to the website, request that, and they'll send out stuff to your emails all the time. And always, although we say remember, recycle first and trash last, when it comes to the contaminated recycling, remember, when in doubt, throw it out.
Thank you, Trustee Wallace. Any of the trustees have any reports tonight?
I'd like to make a comment about our Public Works and the great job they did on this last snowfall.
Yes, they did. It was a real heavy snowfall, and the roads were cleaned pretty quickly. Thank you.
Yes.
Mayor, just quickly too, I wanted to thank the staff for the Winter Series concert. We started it off last Saturday with Rico. They were a great band. Didn't have as big a turnout as we wanted because of the weather, but please don't miss out on the next one. Dave, the date on that one?
It is February, that's 16th, I believe.
Yeah, February 16th, Wayne Baker Brooks and the Mississippi Heat, Blues Night. We had a new layout in the facility. It was great. I can't wait to see a crowded house for the next one.
Sounds good. It's a great deal to come on in, bring your spouse, your significant other out, and have a good time. Anyone else?
Well, Mayor, we might as well just start right now. Trustee Wallace, Beach Fest, Beach Fest, Beach Fest.
Absolutely.
Coming up the end of June, we've got some big surprises in store for everybody, all our residents. We'll be announcing that probably within the next month. But to start us out on Friday night for our bands, Infinity's coming back by popular demand. We're going to do a whole bunch of tribute bands. It's going to be a great time. Kevin Wallace is working on his end. I'm working on the music end, and Trustee Nichols here is working. We're all working together and going to make a great festival happen this year. So we just wanted to announce it. Beach Fest, Beach Fest, Beach Fest, the end of June. Thank you.
28th to the 30th, so mark your calendars.
Anyone else? Okay. More than the mayor's report, we have 3 items tonight. First of all, I have the mayor's annual presentation. I make a presentation every year to the Chamber of Commerce as well as the other Round Lake area mayors, and I also give the presentation here, so I'll do that tonight. Community vitality is defined as the community's collective capacity to respond to change with an enhanced level of participation with aspirations for a healthy and productive community. Triangles are used in many different circumstances, kind of symbolize how everything comes together, and community vitality is the center of it all. Let's begin with a quote from Jamie Dimon. "Everything needs to work at the same time. But what keeps a society vibrant permanently is jobs, industry and business, and stuff like that. It pays for everything else. If you just build affordable housing and those people don't have jobs, it'll no longer be affordable soon. So you really have to build around the business community." Very true statement. Here's one of our big projects coming up here. Both Orchard Lane and Hook Drive carry a lot of traffic, both locally and from people passing through. It's time for us to be reconstructing those roads, and so they'll continue to be beneficial without getting in too bad a shape. We've been able to secure 80% financing from the federal government for these projects. We're still in the final phase of that. They've changed the way they distribute the money, but so far we appear to be still locked in for that. Hook Drive will be done this year, and Orchard Drive hopefully next year. We also have plans to extend Hook Drive to Nicole Lane to allow residents to access the commercial corridor without traveling on the Rollins Road, as well as to open up more properties for commercial development. We're also able to get 80% federal funding for that project, again, provided they don't change or don't kick us out of the process. Right now, they've grandfathered us in, and I expect that to remain that way. I'm sure you've all seen the North Shore Medical Building under construction at Rollins and Hook. It's a great facility, and can't wait for it to be open later this spring. We've had several new businesses, new businesses open up in Round Lake Beach, and more are expected in 2019. Some are brand-new facilities, others are businesses that have been there, somebody else bought the business, changed the name, could have completely changed the business. Hubert Humphrey is quoted as saying, "The impersonal hand of government can never replace the helping hand of a neighbor." How true that is. Neighborhood reinvestment has several key objectives: to eliminate blight, strengthen neighborhoods, improve the housing stock, and ensure buildings are safe and sound. We accomplish this through a proactive code enforcement, including rental house certification and our systematic inspection program. Permitting has been streamlined for easier processing and plays a strategic role to ensure projects are safe. We just concluded a 4-year project to acquire 36 abandoned properties by leveraging $675,000 in IDA grant funding and rehabbing a number of other properties. Several of these properties were acquired through abandonment petitions. One was owned by a hoarder and took several dumpsters to clean out. We partnered with the Affordable Housing Corporation of Lake County to accomplish this objective. Expanding parks and recreation areas available to our residents has been a hallmark of my time in office. The Lakefront Park has grown tremendously over the last 18 years, and now we're going to be adding a little bit more area. The Lakefront Park now goes all the way north to the channel. You can see that picture on the right side over there. We've taken down several houses over the years, and the final house just came down. Just like the Indians used every piece of the buffalo, the blighted homes that were acquired added the benefit of providing the essential training opportunities for area police and fire personnel. You see our police officers able to go in the building and use it as an area if there's a domestic going on or some other serious situation, how to get in there safely, how to make sure that the victims are safe as they go through. Usually the fire department burns the house down too, but we were not able to get the permit from the EPA quick enough. Surprising with the state of Illinois, I know, but that's the way it goes. We've also been working on several improvements to Cedar Lake Road corridor for many years. This is a section that we're going to be focusing on in 2019, kind of the area of Hawthorne and Clarendon and Cedar Lake Road. We are rezoning and returning property to the tax rolls, improving Memorial Park, and WRLR FM 98.3 is moving into this area. WRLR will temporarily be housed at the Round Lake Beach Metro Station while they remodel one of our old well houses into a studio. We're also adding some trees and parks on the east side of Cedar Lake Road. And the most exciting part is we are partnering with Eagle Scout candidate Nick Steinberg to improve Memorial Park by adding a memorial to our armed forces and veterans. It will be unveiled at the Memorial Day services. The improved park areas will allow more residents to enjoy fishing, picnicking, etc. with their families. As you can see, there's a parking lot right now right off of Cedar Lake Road. That's going to be taken out and a parking lot put down North Channel Drive where we used to have a house there. So it'll open up the whole front area there for more recreational opportunities. Round Lake Beach is a Greenest Region Compact adoptee. The Greenest Region Core Sustainability Project is a partnership between the Mayor's Caucus and AmeriCorps. Monica, who's a postgraduate management intern, and Desiree, an AmeriCorps member, are working together on a land management plan for the area at Central Park Drive and Hillwood Circle. SolSmart designation means that towns and counties have followed these steps towards solar-powered systems, solar power panel source systems. They've streamlined their processes, they've reviewed ordinances to clearly spell out requirements, and staff has been trained to examine installation plans and inspect finished work. Shared services are the way of the future to offer better services at lower costs. Service must be mutually beneficial. Some examples of shared services are area adjudication courts, common building and property maintenance codes, joint planning and zoning commissions, integration of snowplow routes, joint purchasing, coordinated comprehensive plans. And several of these things we've already been doing, more are probably going to be in our future. We held our first shared services initiative meeting with all the elected officials in the whole Round Lake area back on August 28th. Who would have guessed that this wise piece of advice was published in 1942 in the Public Management News? The most practical solution to the multiplicity of future problems facing municipalities lies in cooperative action among local governments. 1942 that was written. The effort is being guided by the Northern Illinois University Center for Governmental Studies. And here's a quote from another one of our local mayors. We want to hear from the residents first to see what services they like now and what they would like to see improved. It will give us an indication of how the taxing bodies can work together. Oh yeah, I said that, that's right. The survey conducted by the Northern Illinois University Center for Governmental Studies showed that 70% of the residents thought the services were excellent or good. Oops, no farther. Got ahead of myself here. There we go, okay. Lake County's also been working on a lot of these different shared services. Here are some of the current shared services agreements that we have. We have networking, education, a lot of discussion, a lot of collaboration. Let's see, there we are. Training and meetings. Unfortunately, sometimes there's lots of meetings to get these things to happen, but it's well worth the time. And here are some of the fireside chats from 2018. Always a very informative time. Learn a lot about what's going on in Lake County from the guests that show up. Some of them that are coming up here in 2019. On January 30th, my guests will be the CPAH senior staff, which is the community partners for affordable housing. On February 20th, my guest will be Brad Cole. He's the executive director at the Illinois Municipal League. And on April 18th, my guest will be Dr. Don Mendoza. He's a superintendent of the Round Lake area schools. One of our very successful shared services initiatives with the Greater Round Lake Fire Department even won an award from the Lake County Municipal League for innovation. They've been doing a lot of our site visits and doing our inspections for several different projects, and we've been expanding that program. It's worked out great that they learn the community, they find out where the houses are, where the streets are, they know it inside and out. Plus, it gives them an opportunity to get inside some of the houses. They can install smoke detectors free of charge for a lot of the residents and make sure the homes are safe for the families that live there. Community outreach has always been important to me. Giving them back to the community always has its own rewards. The Round Lake Beach Police Foundation's mission is to promote a strong partnership between the police department and the community and to solicit and disperse funds that will assist the police department in providing the community safety and security that is beyond the level of support of other funding. In 2018, the foundation raised funds to support the following programs: Shop with a Cop, National Night Out, and the Heroes Ball. National Night Out's always one of my favorite events that brings the community together. You have, you can see on the right picture up there, thousands of people at our lakefront park, all having a good time together, having some hot dogs and listening to some music, checking out the cars, and most importantly, interacting with all the police department, all the officers, and understanding they're human beings, they like having fun too, and there can be good people to go to and to know. The foundation has partnered with the village and the Fraternal Order Police Lodge 97 to create a memorial park in front of the police station in recognition of special relationship between our first responders and the public they serve. The focal tree has been planted. The foundation will be hosting a spring 2019 fundraising kickoff, so stay tuned for that. Here are some of the concept drawings. Again, this is right out in front of our police station, a couple hundred feet from here. That's probably a 3 or 4 year project. You'll see different stages along the way. Community programming and outreach in conjunction with the Round Lake Beach Cultural Arts and Civic Foundation allows us to offer many free community programs. We have children's events and also music concerts they were able to offer at a really reasonable price. One nice piece of information for this year is that Cole's Children's Museum will have a temporary home in our cultural center from April 1st to May 25th this year, so please stop by and see all the wonderful displays and activities they have for the kids. And please sign up to become a friend of the center and support these great events. Here are some of our current sponsors. Once again, thank you so much for this time and your attention, and look forward again next year. That wasn't too bad, was it? Okay, now it's time for our annual home holiday decorating winners. And Trustee Butler, are you spearheading that? Trustee Cleveland? We want to give a good shout out to all of our trustees and others that are assisted in judging this season. It was a great program. It's always fun for them to go around and see all the houses so brightly decorated. And it's good when everyone gets together like that and works together. Teamwork.
Would you like to announce the winners, Mayor?
Okay. You want me to go from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top?
Whatever you would like.
Well, we'll start out with how about, let's see, the 5th place. Dr. Robert Miller at 1413 Park Drive. Dr. Miller,
His wife is here.
please see the ladies up here.
I just want to say something. I live down the block from her and another one of our winners, and they have lit their houses so nice every year since my kids were little, and they're still doing it, and it's awesome.
Glad to do it, love to do it.
And 4th place, we have Maria Yates at North Lennox. Is Maria here tonight? Okay. 3rd place, Gregory Briscoe. Yes, Gregory's here. Come on up front. And 2nd place, Antonio Alvarez over on Heather Drive. Is Antonio here tonight? And 1st place, Steve Yanez over on Park Drive. Steve?
Your house was so pretty.
They also live down the street next door to the other neighbors, so, and the two houses together are
She always
fabulous.
comes and looks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing it.
Sounds like a little friendly competition there, huh? Well, again, thank you all to everyone that decorates in our community.
It's not a competition, everybody always says that, but we just love doing it. If you went out like they do,
Makes it even more fun.
it is.
Thank you.
That's the last item on the mayor's report tonight is the Police Recognition Awards. Chief Rivera? Don't think that one's on.
Is it on now? Commander Grace? Commander Grace will be presenting the first award.
I'm going to ask Don Portson to come up. Good evening, Mayor and members of the board. This August, I had the honor of taking over for the Round Lake Beach Emergency Management Agency when Commander Chielarro retired. And this fall, we established a new award for our group. This award is for the Volunteer of the Year. The Volunteer of the Year award is to recognize the individuals that go above and beyond in their duties for our agency and our community. For those of you that aren't aware, the Round Lake Beach Emergency Management Agency provides emergency and operational support to area police departments for traffic control, natural disasters, and search and rescue incidents. This year's recipient of the award is Don Portson. Though this award recognizes Don's outstanding service in 2018, it also recognizes his 49 years of service to this agency and our community. In 2018, under Don Portson's leadership as commander of the Round Lake Beach EMA, our agency conducted 4,061 hours of volunteer service for 154 call-outs and events. Don is also credited with organizing and hosting the Spring Carnival each year, which provides our agency with significant funds that are necessary to fund our operation and get the job done. It's impossible to talk about the history of Mobileye without discussing the legacy of Don Portzen. Don is one of the founding members of Mobileye when it was created in 1970. What started out as a small weekend volunteer group has turned into a 40-member, professional, top-notch emergency management agency. In his 49 years of service, Don has invested his time, his money, and quite frankly, his life to this agency and to our community. Since 1970, if there was a flood, a natural disaster, or other crisis in town, Don was there. As a matter of fact, in 2017, when the floods hit Round Lake Beach, Don's basement was full of water. Instead of staying at home and tending to his own basement, he was out helping others in need, sacrificially. It's safe to say that Mobileye would not be here today if it weren't for Don's leadership and his relentless passion for the success of our group. Since 1970, other towns have admired Mobileye and tried to create their own teams, which sadly they all failed. I asked Don how he managed to keep our group going all those years, and he said, "We never gave up." And he would say quite often, "This is my town and I'm going to take care of it." As a leader, Don isn't one to lose control, but he brings control, and he's always willing to offer advice. Don has led this group for 43 years, and from the looks of it, Don, you're not slowing down, are you?
Nope.
Don's cooperative attitude and positive mindset has rubbed off on our whole entire group, and it's part of our identity as a group. It really is. And for 49 years, Don has set the example on what it means to serve your community. And as a member of this agency, he does a great job. Don, it's because of your example and dedication that it's only fitting for you to be the first recipient of what will be the Donald Portzen Volunteer of the Year Award moving forward. So Don, thank you so much for your service to our community and all that you've done for us.
Thank you, Don. Congratulations.
Well, Commander, I couldn't say it better myself. Don's been a leader in the community for many, many years. And as he said, Mobileye is nowhere else. We have the best and probably one of the very few organizations like this in the whole state of Illinois. So thank you, Don, and the whole team you have behind you there. Awesome, awesome job.
Thank you.
And I'd like to recognize the fact that retired Commander Chiarello is in the audience here. So if we give him a hand, he ran Mobileye for many years. Keeping with that theme, as far as citizens and all the community work we do and the stuff you mentioned, Mayor, as far as our community outreach, really couldn't happen without the help of the community. So I'd like to ask two ladies to step up here, please, Martha and Nancy. So this year we decided to go ahead and recognize a Citizen of the Year award. But when we started putting all the criteria together, we realized we had two for this past year. So we have, beginning this year, we are recognizing a Citizen of the Year going forward. And this year, those two citizens are going to be Nancy Radford and Martha Ibarra, or we know as Patty. Just a little bit about Nancy. Nancy has lived in the area for over 20 years. Since day one, she has been an active participant in her community. She has served her community in numerous capacities, from Director of Lake County Teen Court to serving as President of the District 116 School Board to a million other things in between. This year, Nancy is being recognized for her dedication and countless hours of service and support of the Round Lake Beach Police Department. Nancy is the president of the Round Lake Beach Police Foundation and has led an amazing cast of community members who make programs such as Shop with a Cop, National Night Out, and Heroes Ball possible. She is always looking for ways to improve the relationship between the police department and the community we serve. Currently, along with FOP 97 and the Village, she is leading the way for the creation of a memorial park dedicated to the special bond between first responders and the community they serve. Nancy? Now for Patty. Patty has lived in the area for over 20 years. She works locally and volunteers with the department extensively. We would be hard-pressed to think of a community event where Patty was not volunteering. She has helped maintain our stretch of Rollins Road for Adopt a Highway. She helps coordinate the Walmart portion of Shop with a Cop and assists with raising money for the event. She attends our Citizens Police Academies. She is a community action team member. She has handed out hot dogs in the rain at National Night Out. Patty has served as a board member for the Police Foundation. Most recently, she was invited by Commander Lund and Commander Grace to attend a pilot training program entitled Diversity and Inclusion for Law Enforcement, geared to enhance cultural responsiveness. Her participation and input assisted with the development of this national program offered through UIC Center for Public Safety and Justice in partnership with Department of Justice. So I'd like to recognize Patty.
As we all said for many years, volunteers really make this community work so well. Volunteers at Mobile Eye, volunteers at the Police Foundation. There's so many great people.
Thanks.
Patty, thank you so much.
And their names will be memorialized on a plaque in our hallway, a perpetual plaque that we have on going forward. So we will have all the names up there. If I could call Commander Rodriguez. Commander Rodriguez will be presenting our Officer of the Year award, and I asked him to come up here because he actually is the one who developed the citation for this to write up for it, and I thought it would only be fitting since he wrote it up and did such an extraordinary job that he do the presentation. So, Commander Rodriguez.
My honor. Thank you, Chief, Mr. Mayor and Board. I offer the following warrant as regards to Sergeant Mitzvin for the selection of Officer of the Year. Sergeant Mitzvin achieved 20 years of service with the Round Lake Beach Police Department this year. A look at his career record will reveal how much of a positive and lasting impact he has had on this organization. For purposes of this award, a look at 2018 would show a continuation of that meaningful impact. Sergeant Mitzvin is the epitome of a professional, and he places the same expectation upon those that he works with. His integrity is truly beyond reproach. His passion for police work remains ever strong, and he is always willing to help. He routinely brings meaningful information to roll call involving current events related to law enforcement. He also stays apprised of current events at our police department and routinely completes debriefs at roll call. Despite his expertise and vast experience, he remains humble and approachable for new and less experienced officers. Sergeant Mitzvin shows pride for his work, but is never satisfied until all of those around him are equally safe and knowledgeable. This year, Sergeant Mitzvin completed 71 and a half hours of in-service training with the officers on the Midnight Watch. He also included other area agencies in this training, which bolsters our agency's credibility and professional image. This training covered important patrol operational tactics and was vital to the contribution and success of our developing new officers. What's more, in the way of development, Sergeant Mitzvin identified that he had meaningful advice to give to a new officer, and he volunteered to serve as that officer's mentor as part of our mentorship program. Because of his success in mentoring, Sergeant Mitzvin was also selected to serve as a mentor for our newest hire, Officer Telez. Sergeant Mitzvin still serves as a firearms instructor, a taser instructor, a less lethal instructor, a PPCT instructor, and now is a mentor for our mentorship program. He constantly seeks ways to improve officer safety and brings forward recommendations for the same. This year, Sergeant Mitzvin identified that the department owned several shotguns which had been taken out of service since deploying our rifles. Sergeant Mitzvin's initiative resulted in the deployment of an additional less lethal weapon system with those excess weapon systems. He additionally assisted Officer Kaiser, or Detective Kaiser rather, with the research and purchase of a new patrol shield. Sergeant Mitzvin takes action and makes recommendations when he observes that there are areas where improvements can be made. As to community involvement, a very important component of Chief's Police Department, Sergeant Mitzvin participated at National Night Out. He volunteered to teach at our Citizens Police Academy, and he also completed 2 days of training covering use of force, firearms, and tourniquet application for those citizens. He also completed taser and less lethal shotgun training for the citizens. Additionally, he then took upon himself to take 4 of those citizens out on ride-alongs to give them front and center action, which is a task unto itself. So it's my honor, it's my pleasure to speak to you on behalf of Sergeant Mitzvin. Thank you, Mayor and Board. Chief?
So realistically, there's not much more I can add to that Commander Rodriguez did not add, but I will say that it is actually a very big deal because we had 7 nominees. It's highly contested in our department. So Sergeant Mitzvin came out as a selection, and more impressive is the fact that, again, here we have a 20-year officer working hard out there and showing everyone what it is that is expected in this community. So I'd like to present to you Sergeant Mitzvin, the Officer of the Year for 2018.
Well, thank you, Chief. And you're right. Sergeant Mitzvin has been very active in our community for many, many years, not just this year, but for as long as I know him. And it's great to see that happen. They continue to lead our department, especially young recruits coming in, learning how to really do the job well. And you don't ever stop doing the job. You don't retire in the job. You keep on going forward. That's great to see. Is there a clerk's report tonight?
No report, thank you.
Well, as I always say, you're welcome to stay. We have a short meeting coming up afterwards. You don't have to. I know you have busy lives. If you'd like to leave, you're not going to hurt our feelings.
1, 2.
There goes the stampede.
Remember her shoes today? Last time they were here, he forgot to put her shoes on.
And I did turn my mic back on.
Take care now.
Was it something I said? Okay, move on to our items of business then. We have item A, which is a resolution approving the line of credit with State Bank of the Lakes. We've used the line of credit for many years from local banks to purchase the dilapidated properties and rehab and demolish them. It's been a great source for us to not have to invest village funds. It's kind of a revolving fund where you buy the property, fix it up, resell it, and always keep on using the same money for the same purpose then. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Wallace.
Second?
Second by trustee Butler. We have a motion to second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Husk?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Butler?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
And that's approved. Item B is an ordinance authorizing abatement property taxes heretofore levied for the year 2018 to pay for the principal and interest on the series 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2013 general obligation bonds. Whenever we issue bonds to do road projects and water mains and so forth, the agreements require us to increase taxes to pay the bonds if we do not have enough money, enough funds on hand to pay the bonds. We've never had to raise the taxes to do so. We always have the money to pay the bonds, and the same is true this year. So we'll be abating those bonds, and the taxpayers will not have an additional cost on their backs again. Is there a motion to abate those taxes?
So moved.
Is that trustee Husk?
Second.
Second by trustee Nichols. We have a motion and a second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Butler?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Trustee Husk?
Aye.
That's also approved. Item C is an ordinance authorizing the abatement of property taxes heretofore levied for the year 2018 to pay for the principal interest on Series 2016 general obligation bonds. This is the same issue except for a different set of bonds. They changed the rules after that, so we have to do a different ordinance for this particular bond. But again, we're going to abate the taxes. We will not be adding any taxes to our residents. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Cleveland,
Second.
second by trustee Wallace. We have a motion and a second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Butler?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Trustee Husk?
Aye.
That's approved. Item D is an ordinance rezoning property at 310 West South Channel Drive, around Lake Beach, Illinois, from R3 to C3. This is a property that's a budding property along Cedar Lake Road, and we feel it'd be better suited for commercial development than for housing. It'll allow the properties that are there now to combine and make a lot large enough to actually do redevelopment and have a nice business of some sort developed there. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Butler,
Second.
second by trustee Cleveland. We have a motion and a second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Butler?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Trustee Husk?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
That's also approved. Item E is a resolution authorizing the conveyance of certain property located in Round Lake Beach, Illinois. This parcel is too small to develop by itself, so we're selling it to the adjacent landowner. This is again in the same area where we're rezoning this other parcel. So they'll have a lot large enough to make a nice development there and to put the property back on the tax rolls. Right now, there's no tax being collected at all on the property, which will be great for not only Round Lake Beach, but also for the park district and the school district and the fire department, all the way across. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Wallace, second by trustee Butler. We have a motion and a second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Trustee Husk?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Butler?
Aye.
That's also approved. Item F is an ordinance approving a final plat of subdivision for the Village Hall subdivision. Over the years, the village has purchased several lots for the Village Hall, the Metro Station, the Cultural Center, and more. We're going to be consolidating all those into one lot for simplicity's sake, and so we have it one tax bill, and we don't have to worry about taking multiple notices from the county. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Trustee Nichols, second by trustee Husk. We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Trustee Husk?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Butler?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
And that's also approved. Item G is a resolution approving certain contractors to perform emergency underground utility repairs for the village around Lake Beach, Illinois. Several years ago, we determined it was cheaper and more efficient to contract out our major water main repairs instead of purchasing all the large equipment necessary to do the repairs in-house. We don't have that many of them, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to have the storage area. They have pieces of equipment that are $200,000 to $300,000 a piece, and also the extra labor in order to do that. We're going to be approving a 3-year contract for contractual utility repair with 4 different companies to give us options on who we use and who's available when water mains breaks occur. They are Berger Excavating Contractors, Campanella and Sons, Dietmer Plumbing and Excavating, and Canyon Excavating. And again, this is just any one of them we can use at any time. It's a 3-year program, and again, in 3 years, we'll reassess it and see if these people are still the ones we want to have with us, or if it's a bad situation, we'll do it sooner. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by trustee Cleveland, second by trustee Husk. We have a motion and a second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Husk?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Butler?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
That's also approved. That was our last item of business on the agenda. We do have executive session tonight. Before that, it is open to public participation. Anyone has a question or comment for the board, please come to the microphone, give your name and address for the record, and either state your comment or ask your question.
bunch of other questions, but just now you recommended a property on South Channel to become commercial from residential.
Yes.
And the property, I'm assuming across the street from it, correct? You said adjacent to it?
That's right behind, there's 3 lots along Cedar Lake Road, this is their lot right behind it.
Is it by the dam, are you talking about?
Yes.
Okay, and I thought in your presentation it looked like it was going to become a park.
Other side of the street.
Other side of the dam, like on North Channel or the South Channel
It's on
side?
the west side of the road.
Oh, across the street?
Yes.
West side of Cedar Lake.
Oh, okay, okay. Do you know
You're
what kind of
familiar
business
with
is
it,
coming?
the old men's club used to be there.
Yes, oh, okay, that makes more sense to me, okay. Yes, I'm sorry, my name's Chris Constabilio, the address is 204 South Channel Drive. And I had a couple other questions. So I recently received a letter in the mail in regards to the electric company being changed.
Yes.
So in the letter, it stated it was a better, greener way of going. But is there a way, I mean, what brought along the change?
It was something we've done in the past. We've done electric aggregation. We had done it originally when ComEd had some huge contracts they were tied up with for years. We were able to offer a lower price to our residents. Now that ComEd's out of those contracts, it's really difficult to offer a lower price by aggregation. But what we have been able to do is offer a greener version of electricity to be used in our community at the same price or a lower price. It's really close. It won't be any higher for you. At the worst, it'll be the same. At the best, it'll be this little bit cheaper.
Okay. And since we're on the subject, you said taxes weren't raised because of bonds and whatnot, but how do you really determine, or how do you determine each home's tax rate?
Oh, we don't, actually. The Avon Township has an assessor there that assesses all the properties every 4 years and says the market value, and they base it on sales over the last 3 years before that. So they say it sold, the house was selling for 100, then 110, 120, they'll assess it at 110,000 then if it's a similar house.
So what if a house is more expensive than another, yet the tax rate is cheaper? How does that happen?
That shouldn't, you'd have to talk to the Avon Township assessor to find out why.
I did, and you know what they told me? Why don't you go to the school board and yeah, why don't you go to the school board where our taxes are going? I mean, she just kind of went a little bizarre. I was like, whoa.
Now, not the assessment process.
I know, she was a
Look at
little.
your tax bill, yeah, 2/3 goes there, but
Yeah.
they're the ones that set the rate, not the rate, they set the assessment, which determines how much you pay.
Yeah, I know, she was a
Interesting.
little whacked. But
Okay.
lastly, sometime last year, I saw that you had one of those talks, the fireside chats.
Yes.
In regards to rental properties and just giving people that perhaps might want to rent out property. Will you be doing another one of those, or is there a way to seek information if I was considering renting out some property?
Oh, absolutely. You can talk to our staff over here. They can work with you on that. We hold those seminars every once in a while for the landlords so they can be fully up
Yeah.
to speed. In fact, it's required in our town if you're going to rent out property. You have to go through this class.
Oh, okay. Do you know how often it occurs?
I don't off the top of my head, no.
If I can, Mayor, the class goes quarterly.
Okay.
But if you contact the police department and ask for support service manager, Mark Betts, he actually runs part of the certification program, and he can answer a lot of those questions for you.
Okay, Mark Betts.
Mark Betts.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Wait, thanks for being here tonight. It's nice to have audience participation. Yeah. Were you the one that clapped when I was done with my presentation? I thought it said- Thank you. Have a good night.
Take care now.
Well, we do have executive session tonight for probable pending litigation, land acquisition, executive session minutes, and personnel. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by trustee Butler, second by trustee Nichols. Please call the roll.
Trustee Husk?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Butler?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
That's been approved. We will be in executive session. When we come out, we may or may not have any action on those items from an executive session. You're welcome to stay, but it's not required. Thank you.
Put on any moment. Every time I look at it, that's what I think. Hey, I got
Okay,
a hat,
just-
but I didn't go get
Call the meeting back to order for January 21st, 2019. We are done with our executive session, and we're back in the regular session. We have no action on those executive session items, so I ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
trustee Cleveland, second by trustee, that was Scott, right? Okay.
Yep.
Trustee Nichols, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.